to infinity and beyond.
What's up, everyone? It's Roger and James here from DisKingdom.com with Infinity and Beyond, your weekly Disney video game podcast with the first episode of 2017. So, Happy New Year to everyone watching. Hope you've all had a fantastic Christmas. Woohoo! It's 2017. There's not going to be no bad things happening and no celebrities are going to die, apparently.
That's it. It's not allowed to happen.
Yeah, people are going to be so disappointed. So, as you can see, I'm in a slightly different location. I'm in my new house, moved over Christmas period. Not fully set up yet. Got all my toys and going to be doing a few bits and pieces to get some lighting and stuff sorted. Now I have my special little room. I'm on a chair now rather than when I do these podcasts normally on a bit of garden furniture and sat on a box. Now I actually have a desk. So it's quite nice.
That must be quite nice.
Yes. So James, you had a good Christmas period?
Yeah, can't complain. Just got back from New Year's Eve with my family, actually. Well, New Year's Eve and New Year's. So, yeah, it was a good Christmas. Not too much family drama and the usual. Good dinners.
But to be honest, I mean, I had Christmas Day off, but I've been working right through because, like, for us, like, it's a busy period. From, like, 2 days' time, our business will just plummet because the time of the year. So I'm having next week off. I'm going to have a week off next week when nothing happens. So next week's my Christmas time to have some time off, which has been working. But yeah, so there's been not really any video game news. I mean, other than trying to unlock all these Frozen things in Frozen Magic Kingdoms, which literally ends today. And I'm desperately trying to get the last few pieces to unlock Elsa because those Snowglies were awful.
Yeah, the Snowgies were a terrible mechanic.
Yeah.
And I think the game managed to garner some ill will there by being very nice about the fact that they're like, oh, you don't have the time to get Hans? Yeah. Well, give us $20 and we'll give you Hans.
That was an insane price.
I mean, I guess in principle I don't really care because, yes, you could have unlocked him. But if you didn't buy Olaf and Sven, there was no way you were getting Hans in that event.
Yeah. I mean, I bought Olaf in the first round. I didn't bother buying Sven because it was like way too pricey. Like I've said before in the past, £1-2 for a figure or character, I'll buy it. But that's my sort of, if it's $1.99, $2.99 for a package, that's my top end. I'm just like, I'm looking at Elsa now, and I think I need like I need at least another 5 or 6 of their ear hats, and it's like, it's still 300 or so gems if I wanted to bypass. It's like, it's just, nope, it ain't happening. It's just, if I don't get her today, then, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to take my iPad to work to try and get a few extra ones every 2 hours. But the only way it's going to happen on this last day.
I think for Elsa, I was playing it and I needed just one ear hat. Just one ear hat. And it took me like 6 or 8 hours, I can't remember, to get it. I was playing it and I was refreshing it, and the people who could get her hat just would not pick up her hat, and I had to do it like 3 or 4 times before it actually worked. So their drop rate was terrible.
Yeah, it was. It's been a bit annoying with that. Did you get any other video games over Christmas?
I didn't actually get any video games over Christmas, but I've been going through my backlog. Nothing too Disney related, but I did beat Tomb Raider, which I've had for 5 years or however long that's been out.
The Tomb Raider or Rise of the Tomb Raider?
Not Rise. The first of the rebooted Tomb Raider. I finally beat that. I almost picked up Rise of the Tomb Raider, but I said, $30 is probably a good price for it, but I've got plenty of other games to play through now. So. I
did actually get Rise of the Tomb Raider and Uncharted for Christmas, and so the last week I've been playing Rise of the Tomb Raider. So it's kind of quite funny. So so that's been my main game. I didn't even... Christmas Day morning, put the disc in for Uncharted 4. Installed, not enough memory space, and I've tried to uninstall stuff, and I looked on the back of the thing, Tomb Raider only half the amount, so I whacked that in, and I've been playing that, and it literally came down to that choice on Christmas Day morning, which one would fit on my hard drive. So I was like, welcome to modern day Christmas Day, and then the PSN network went down for updates. So perfect Christmas Day morning.
Yeah. These days, especially if you're a parent and you're getting your kids some video games or whatever, you need to make sure, if possible, you install it like 3 days before Christmas, because this is the 3rd or 4th Christmas in a year that both PSN and Xbox have gone down. This is and games, even if you don't need to patch them, they still take 60 gigs of install space. So which is frustrating.
Yeah,
because when we were kids, you just bring out the Nintendo or the Sega Genesis, pop that cartridge right in, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Assuming it wasn't a bad game, but
I must admit, it was a little bit of an issue there. Right, in this episode, since we've had no news, we will be discussing all things 2017. On the last episode, we went through all of 2016, and the death of Disney Infinity. This year, it's all about 2017. So it's full of positivity, full of excitement, because there's actually quite a few games officially been announced, and a few sort of teased, and a few speculations that we're going to kind of make. So let's jump into 2017 of what has been. We're going to start off with what's officially been revealed. So the next release is going to be Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, which is coming out in Japan in like 2 weeks, coming out in Western I think it's the 24th of January, which includes Dream Drop Distance, includes 0.2 Fragment Passage, and also back cover. And I can't actually think. I've actually got to the point now I can remember them all. That's how. It's like, oh wow, that is, I must have typed it enough now that it's actually now embedded in me that I understand what I'm talking about.
No, I don't know.
No. So that Dream Drop Distance is a full 20-30 hour experience that was on the 3DS that have now been ported over. I say ported, it's pretty much a remaster because it was done on little screens and it was only...
Right. So
that would be good. And also the 0.2 is the brand new few hour experience kind of leading up to Kingdom Hearts 3. I have played that. It's a lot of... I'm now it's thinking, right, it's only a couple of weeks away. I'm actually really excited about it. I haven't got anywhere near completing Kingdom Hearts 1 enough to kind of jump into it. I know Skyward Wing was talking about it on his channel recently, saying, well, if you haven't played the other ones, don't jump straight into 2.8. And it's like, it's on my PS4. I will probably just, I might not understand the story, but even when I'm playing the games, I don't seem to understand the story.
Yeah, that's the thing with Kingdom Hearts. The story is so convoluted, just from what I can tell at this point, that I'm not too worried about it.
Yes. Well, I'm actually planning on... I started on my last vacation. I got about 10 hours into 358/2 days. So next week, I'm got my DS charged up, and my aim is to kind of play a little bit more DS of that next week. So, so that's the next big game. So that one, I know I'm looking forward to it. I think you're holding off until after the March release.
That is correct. So we might as well talk about that one.
Yeah. So we've got coming out at the end of March is the 1.5 and 2.5 collection of Kingdom Hearts games coming to PS4. These were out on the PS3 a few years ago. They are being, I wouldn't say remastered, being ported. There's a hope that they're going to fix a few of the issues that they had with like Kingdom Hearts 2, where it was a little bit glitchy and a few stuff. But if you've never played Kingdom Hearts, this is This is the 15th anniversary of Kingdom Hearts this year. This is the big year for Kingdom Hearts. You've got the orchestra going through. You've got 2.8, 1.5, 2.5 being releases, and there's even there is possibility of Kingdom Hearts 3 coming this year, but I'm still very, very doubtful of that. Even though it's on IGN's list.
It will be the end of the list. But Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5, we've both talked about this quite frequently. I did not have a PlayStation 3. I did not have a PlayStation 2. And my initial experiences with Kingdom Hearts weren't that great. Just my interactions with psychotic fan people. Yeah. A specific fan people, not the community, just one person. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to trying out 1.5, 2.5. I don't know if I'll even bother with any of the other things that are included in these packages. It might just be number 1 and number 2, and then go into 2.8 and then wait for 3. Given how long the games are, Kingdom Hearts 3 might even be out, and I'll still have to wait because...
Yeah. I must admit, I wanted to finish 1 by the time 2.8 came out, but I'm going to be very, very tight on that. I know I'm about 3/4 of the way through the game, but like I said, Tomb Raider hit, and that's distracted me for a week. But I'm also 10, 12 hours into one of the DS games. So I feel like now I'm, probably wrapped up 30, 40 hours between a few games. It's not quite such a I understand it a lot more, and it's like I want to play them. And that thing of like once I knew that they were coming to the PS4, I've pretty much ruled out. I'm going to wait for Kingdom Hearts 2 till 2.5 comes out. Once I've done that, then I'm going to go into Birth by Sleep. So yeah, my order for games is going to be way off. I'm probably not going to, but it's going to be release date because if Kingdom Hearts 2.8 is out in January and the one that isn't out to the end of March, that's 6-8 weeks. That's when I'm going to play the one that's out. But yeah, I'm not. The story, to be honest, I've seen videos and stuff online through YouTube and stuff while I've been trying to kind of get to grips of what's happened. I don't think it's just fun running around, smashing things up, and fighting things, and seeing the Disney characters. The story between all the Japanese characters, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I know I'm being dragged into this series. I feel like I am drifting towards it, and I'm hoping by the end of the year I will have got into it fully by playing through all the games properly.
Well, the heck, if you just want to smash things, go ahead and play some Legend of Zelda and run around and destroy everyone's pottery.
Yeah. So I've never really kind of got that one. But then again, we've got the Switch coming out, so
that's true. We do
might distract me with that one there. But big year for Kingdom Hearts. I'm personally really excited about this stuff because it's new for me, and I think the same for you because it's new. It actually is going to it's filling a void of having no Disney video games out. If you've already played everything before, at least 2.8 gives you those few hours of the new 0.2, which plays amazing. Having played that and then going back to 1, you really feel the difference.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. And you did mention there were some issues with 2.5 on the PS3, which I didn't actually know about. Since this game isn't out until March, I suspect that they're taking the time to actually put a little bit of DLC into it. Otherwise, we would just get another like Marvel Ultimate Alliance or whatever kind of syndrome where there's like, yeah, there it is, have fun.
Well, I must see because I did buy 2 remixes last year on the PS3, but it was again one of those. I didn't fully grasp how long when I brought them both at the same time. I hadn't grasped how long each game was. And obviously, and then I think it was because of like Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 dropping that distracted me for a month playing those games, and that's just the way games go. But yeah, so those are the main. Well, they're the only really Disney games that we've been officially confirmed for 2017 Disney side. We're going to flip over now to Star Wars. We know we've got Star Wars Battlefront 2 or whatever, or Battlefront 4 probably, when that comes out in the fall. We know there's going to be single player experience. We know it's based on the new movies. I think we'll have some updates to some because that's a couple of mobile apps and stuff. But yeah, I think that's going to be the main one that we're probably not going to hear about till E3.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't know much yet. They want to keep most of it under wraps because they want to keep people buying the original Battlefront. Although at this point, with all the expansions out, Christmas has just passed us. I think they're not going to get any more sales on it. They'll get a couple, obviously, but not many.
Apparently, I was watching on Star Wars Battlefront updates. There's been over 100,000 people logged in. Most times he's been playing Star Wars Battlefront because of Rogue One, which is one of the highest players since the game originally launched last November. So it's actually been very, very busy. A lot of people playing it, I think, picking it up, and the Rogue One has brought a lot of people in, which has been a lot of fun. I've been jumping in and out of it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I haven't played it yet because I do have the game, but I never got the expansion pack. And interestingly, at least on PlayStation 4, the pack either went on sale and I missed it, or it's not on sale right now. So it is on the Xbox, but I'm not going to buy it a second time just for that. But yeah, Battlefront 2... hopefully they can ride that out because I'm sure a bunch of people got Battlefront 1 Ultimate Edition for Christmas, and if the experience is positive, then they'll keep on playing. So
I mean, it's a great game. I mean, I think we are going to see a lot longer life cycles for games anyway from now on. It'll be interesting to see how they can keep the Battlefront community going for 6 to 8 months. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a few patches, a few little updates here and there, but I can't see us getting anything. Whether or not they go down the remasters, the ports things of bringing some of the older games in to fill the backlog, doubtful of that. I think EA have kind of got a little bit more of a stronger hold on. They want to put all their attention on the new purchases rather than just remasters.
Yeah, but they are also a gigantic company, so if they could have like their little intern squad or whatever do, work on Force Unleashed 1 and 2 ports for PS4, Xbox One, Switch. I could totally see them doing it. There is a huge back catalog of Star Wars games. We talked about it previously, and yeah, I think it should be. It could be an untapped market. They want to redo Knights of the Old Republic, Force Unleashed. Hell, any of the games, really.
I still reminds me, I'm still going to play Force Unleashed 2, which I brought back in the May 4th sale. I've completed the first game, but not the second game yet. So that one's still on my back catalogue. But yeah, like you say, I would not be surprised to see a few more. I think we're going to see a lot of this anyway, coming up this next 12 months, 2 years, as they get everything onto the Xbox and PlayStation networks long term. But yeah, as far as Star Wars goes, we know we've got a major AAA title coming out. We know we've also got 2 other titles in development, one from Respawn, one from the people doing that did Uncharted. So we know we've got 3 big AAA titles in development, which is it's nice to know that. You've got it coming. They're working on it. It's like the movies. We're going to get one a year, and that's cool.
Yeah, I have absolutely no problem with them continuing to push the brand as long as they are high-quality games.
Yeah.
And as long as Battlefront 2's single-player mode isn't just a tacked-on experience, I'm totally 100% down for picking that up just for myself. And, hey, EA, why don't you go ahead and take that X-Wing mission that you guys made and spin that off into a full game? I would totally buy that.
There's been quite a few people saying about sort of how good that was. As much as VR still kind of intrigues me, it's still I'm still worried that it's a gimmicky thing and it might work out. But yeah, it's going to be to see what they do with the Star Wars stuff. So let's jump over now to the Marvel side. Officially confirmed, we have Spider-Man, though not confirmed for 2017.
Right.
Though I don't know. Do you think with Spider-Man: Homecoming, they'll want to get in on that one?
I think that they'll want it at least by Christmas. I don't think they're going to try and push it out with Homecoming because that's only in May, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, unless it's a lot farther along in development than we think it is, it's not coming out for that. But yes, actually, a holiday season release. With the little kids, they want to get the Spider-Man DVD, and you can throw in the video game right alongside of it. Yeah, that'd be perfect for them.
And also, because it's not technically a movie tie-in, it should hopefully be a lot stronger. Like I said, we don't really know too much about it. Some people are speculating that it might even be a 2018 game. And because Sony do tend to want to push things out. But this year's going to be a big Spider-Man year with Homecoming.
Oh, yeah. I could see them pushing it out to 2018 because you have Infinity War coming out that year. Spider-Man will probably be a part of it. I mean, everyone's in the Marvel Universe is part of it. And from Sony's point of view, if you push this title out in 2017, then you're really just kind of building the Sony hype train.
Yeah.
Whereas if you bring it out next year, wow, it's weird to think of 2018 as next year now. They can at least kind of capitalize on the Marvel sales, which they're not going to get much money from due to their agreement. So it could go really either way.
We've also got Telltale's Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't remember if that's been officially May or spring, or if it was just coming soon.
I think it was just coming soon.
Yeah, so Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 hits cinemas in May. Spider-Man, I think, is July.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
So I'm guessing around that period. Depends on if it's connected to the movie or it's a completely separate story. But either that or summer of some kind. Episodes. I'm looking forward because I've never played those kind of games. So that's kind of something that's a bit interesting, a bit different, a different kind of play style for me.
Yeah, I've actually been playing these games very recently. I was playing the Telltale Batman game, which is great. And then also Telltale's Walking Dead Season 3. Now, I haven't actually played Walking Dead Season 1 or Season 2, but I was given a review code for one of the other sites I work with, and it's a lot of fun. It's brutal, but it's a lot of fun. I don't think Guardians is going to be quite as violent and brutal as Walking Dead or Game of Thrones or whatever.
Yeah.
But if this is the Batman team that's working on it, the team that did that game, then I think we have something that'll be a lot of fun and worth looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to that kind of episode content because that would spread out and as adults with jobs and families and stuff, the idea of being able to have I found with Hitman last year, that episode actual content actually worked for I think our age group more, of giving us smaller chunks rather than giving us a 20-30 hour experience where it can feel a bit overwhelming when you haven't got that much free time.
Right. Oh yeah, and that's the great thing about this. I think for The Walking Dead, they've only released the first 2 episodes, and I finished both of them in about an hour and 45 minutes total. So that was kind of nice. But even with that, the storytelling is so dense in these games that I feel like I had a fulfilling experience. Now I just need episode 3 because the episode 2 ended with a nasty cliffhanger.
I'll be honest, never done that one. We've also had officially confirmed Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which we know if you're the characters. Again, just said 2017. I'm guessing fall. Again, depends how long and how far in the life cycle it was and how long they've been developing. But again, exciting. And I think what this is going to do, this is going to be another one where I think it wouldn't surprise me if they go down the Street Fighter V system of season passes, multiple updates, multiple patches, and the term infinite. Not that we know that doesn't always last very long.
Yeah.
I think that is more about like saying we could get 2-3 years of season passes of them constantly adding characters that way. That's the way I'm looking at it more, because looking at how they've done Street Fighter V, they've done a year 2 season pass, and I think we're going to see that with Marvel. I think they'll just keep spreading them out and adding new content constantly.
As long as they do better with this launch than they did with Street Fighter V's launch, we should be okay. But again, we've talked about this previously. It was announced very recently. If it didn't have Capcom in it, I would be far more interested. We're talking about the characters, not the company. They obviously know what they're doing with fighting games, but I just don't care. I don't need the Resident Evil characters. I don't need Mega Man.
No.
But maybe, hopefully, following this, we can get a Marvel-centric game. Maybe for, it's in the title, Infinite. But I was going to say maybe like something for the Infinity Wars next year.
Yeah. I also think it's that kind of thing of when they all started this like 20 years ago, I think the Capcom characters were probably bigger at the time than the Marvel heroes.
Right.
Whereas like now, of course, it's the completely opposite, and Capcom are probably like, yes. Because even Capcom have said that they want to like go back to their franchises, relaunch them. I think they've maybe decided that rather than keep like, churning out the same characters, it can work. You can still do it. Every company's doing it if you do it well. If you just keep churning out stuff, bring out a new Final Fight, bring out a new Mega Man and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I've been playing quite a bit of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on the PS4. It's kind of that kind of cool game. It's like sometimes, you got half an hour, 40 minutes or so. You can just jump on and just fight and just play without kind of having to worry, concentrate too much. I usually end up putting something on the laptop or the podcast and just enjoy and that's what I've been doing the last few weeks.
I definitely can't argue with that. I think the fighting genre has had a big resurgence in recent years, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite's in a very good position to capitalize on that, especially since Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and 2 were widely beloved by the majority of the fan base, and 3 getting re-released obviously is going to keep people interested. So I hope this comes this year. I don't know if they've given a date on it, but...
No. It's definitely 2017, but it's looking good. Marvel's been the one where we know we have got 3 or 4 games in development. We know Marvel games are being very strategic. Bill and the team over there at the Marvel games are taking video games seriously. They are really they're investing, they're going and finding the partners, they are the mobile apps, everything on the Marvel side at the minute with the video games, they are really, if you look at the 3 brands, they are completely heads and so high up above everybody else what they're doing. because they seem to have got a very good strategy and have realized that video games are just like comic books and movies. They are a part of their brand, and it makes money, and it brings people in, and they seem to have got it.
Yeah, they've definitely put the time and effort into it, and they've realized, it's great that they're making tons of money on their movies, but even when you're making multi-million-dollar, $100 million profit movies, whatever, the real money is in the merchandising. That's always true, and video games are part of merchandising these years, days, whatever. And if they can keep pumping out games, and if they can keep the quality up, which we should get from both Capcom and Telltale, and whichever studio is working on Spider-Man,
then that games, I think it is.
Oh yeah, if they can keep the quality up, people will buy them, and they will make a lot of money on these, and it will build further press for their other products.
Yeah.
So,
in some other sort of Marvel things, Marvel Heroes, the PC game, is about set to get a massive update. It's been sort of teased for quite a few while. All the characters getting overhauls, the whole game's getting a re-look. There has been lots of sort of rumors and words of that coming to consoles as well this year, which I'm actually really excited about, because I just don't like playing on my laptop. The minute that's on that screen, I know I'm going to be on it so much, because it's just a different kind of experience. Again, if they can put that on the Switch, but I'm doubtful of that one. But it's that kind of thing. I wouldn't be at all surprised when we see that one get announced. I know it's obviously Marvel Heroes 2016 now instantly dates the game, doesn't it? It's
right.
Instantly. That's the trouble when you put the title in, and it's why like the sports games, they always go to the next year rather than the year it got released, because it just dates instantly.
Cars too. I don't know if that's true in the UK, but over here our cars are always a year ahead. Get the 2018 model Ford nonsense car.
Yeah,
and that's what's going to be on sale soon.
Yeah,
even though it's just 2018.
Yeah, the license plates. They doubled up on that, and they now do 2 releases of license plates a year just to kind of keep everyone to encourage it all. But yeah, so the Marvel side, we've got that, and also I've said it before, my spider sense is tingling over the fact that we might see a Lego Guardians of the Galaxy game as well this year, because they were missed off of the Avengers. That was the big thing, really. The end of Lego Superheroes saw them introduce them as in the finale, and in a Lego Avengers they weren't even in the game. That was the biggest
right
flag going up, saying we're doing something with the Guardians and we're saving them for so whether or not it's a summer release or maybe end of the summer, because it depends on how much access they've had to Volume 2. I think that's really the key. If they've had some good access to it, it might come a bit earlier. If they haven't, I'm not looking at this year's with The Force Awakens and what they did with that game last year. Of having that extra few months made a big difference in that quality of that game.
Right. I suspect that we'll see this one a bit later, assuming that we get it at all. Simply because they've got the Telltale Guardians coming out, and we assume that that's coming out closer to the movie launch. If I was them, I would want to space it out so that the two don't cannibalize sales from each other. Yeah. But I agree that, the fact that the most recent one, Lego Avengers, was really based on the movies. It was literally, here's some scenes from Captain America, here's some scenes from Civil War, here's some scenes from Thor 2, and so on. And the Guardians were nowhere, despite being insanely popular. It doesn't make sense for them to not do anything with it.
I mean, Lego, they have got Lego Worlds coming out, which is their free roaming PC game that's coming to consoles in February. They also are re-releasing or porting over Lego City Undercover to other consoles as well. So they've got a couple of games already lined up for the next few months, which is then making me feel like if there was anything, it would be a bit after all of that. Obviously, they're doing the Lego Dimensions stuff. Now, I forgot to mention with the Star Wars things. Do you think we're going to see a Rogue One Lego game, or are they going to just miss that? And
we talked about this previously, and I think a couple of months ago, even as recent as November or something, I said probably we would see either a Rogue One or maybe a Rebels set tie it. Do a Lego Rogue One game and then tie in Rebels with the Dimensions, because it's the slightly lesser franchise, but the kids are definitely following it. But with what we've seen over Christmas and the months leading up to Christmas, with the Toys to Life games struggling, at least from like anecdotal evidence of people just, what the sales seem to look like, maybe not. I think Marvel and Lucasfilms and all these guys might be looking at that and going, you know what? Not even worth the time. Let's just spend the effort on our own games.
Well, it's like I've said before, looking at how well Avengers and Force Awakens did in the charts last year, and they were forever in those charts of selling, and kids will keep buying them. I can't help but feel the same way. But it's this weird thing with Rogue One's been this like weird movie where it's like, how well is it gonna? I don't know. They've not been treating it exactly the same. I mean, whether or not they just hold out for Episode 8 the summer of next year and just go, right, okay, we're going to have a Star Wars game every 2 years, give our fans a chance to recoup, and so when it comes out, it's a bit more special. Wouldn't surprise me if the Rogue One got announced, but I would have expected it before now, while the hype was running, maybe in January. Yeah.
Although, if they were going to do it, either Lego Dimensions or its own separate launch, they might try and do it in line with, like, say, the release of the Blu-ray, which I think they announced fairly recently, and that should be coming up. But at the same time, they might use it as a way of building hype for Episode 8. We get our first Episode 8 trailer at some point, and, oh, hey, you can't play Episode 8, but you can play Rogue One. You remember how much you enjoyed Rogue One. Here's the Legoized version, which will be funny and enjoyable, and you'll get to fly the X-Wing and stuff.
Yeah, it's always, I think, as well as that, with like, it's difficult with Rogue One whether or not they will do a separate one. And again, I think as with Lego, I'm sure there will be some brand represented this year by Lego, either in a Marvel game, a Star Wars game, Lego Dimensions, or even a Disney product. There's going to be something out there, but where it lands is going to be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, we just have to wait for an official announcement, and that's probably going to be several months down the road at this point, because the convention cycle obviously doesn't start up until later in the year. I
mean, speaking still a little bit more on Lego, whether or not, it's like Arthur Finger put something like a tweet out saying, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's like, Frozen. Because they've just released that Frozen thing. Whether or not we get a Frozen Lego game, maybe go a completely different direction, whether or not they get added to Dimensions, even just a Disney mashup Lego game, could happen. Anything, it wouldn't surprise me if it just feels like there will be, almost feels like there would be something coming out this year for one of their franchises.
I certainly wouldn't complain. The Lego games are almost always enjoyable. They almost always have that cute, unique little bit of charm that makes them a little bit different from every other game. It would be interesting if they tried to do Frozen, because the movie that was on TV recently, and then the sets they've released are part of their women's line, and without going into the whole nonsense of having a completely different line for women and men, which is idiotic. I wonder if they did a video game, if they would use the figure style that they've put for their women's line instead of the traditional minifigure, which would be kind of annoying. I really would prefer if they would just be like, all right, girls and women like to play with regular Legos too. Let's just make them all look the same. But
yeah, it's difficult. So now looking ahead at the other Disney stuff, we also have the Nintendo Switch coming up. So Disney and Nintendo have been working very well together for years on making lower end games for the DS. I wouldn't be too surprised if this is going to carry on, but if they're making it for the Switch, they're probably going to be able to port these lower end games to other consoles. So I think, and also with the new licensing system and all the rest of it that they returned to, it wouldn't at all surprise me if we see something completely random dropping out for the Switch. Whether or not anything on the DS, it does feel like Nintendo are going full board on Switch is going to be the big thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's the big release of the year, even including, I think Xbox's Project Scorpio is either coming out late this year. I think it's supposed to come out in the holiday season, next holiday season. PlayStation's probably going to have something coming out too. But the Switch is definitely the big one, and it's already got a lot of people hyped. I know there was a little bit of backlash when the supposed specs on the processor came out, but you know what? It's on the lower end, definitely. But one thing to remember is when you have it dedicated strictly to gaming, you don't need quite as much. And Nintendo has shown that it's not about power. But anybody who's surprised by this really has not been paying attention to the last, 4 console releases from Nintendo. So
I still think there was that thing with the Switch of a lot of people kind of wanting it to be as powerful or better than the PlayStation 4 and Xbox in your hand. I think that's what people in their heads were like, I want a console that's in my hands, and that was what they were expecting. For me, with this Nintendo console, it's more about just having a new console, having Nintendo games to play on my big screen, and I don't have to rely on the gimmicks because I can just use a controller. That's what that was more of the thing about the Switch. Of taking it away with me and taking it to work and taking it off is a good thing, but just playing the normal, because the Wii U just never got my. It's like, there's a few games on there that I wanted to play, but even like the thing on like Twitter, it still costs more than an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 in the store. It's still they just like, you will pay full price for it because it's Nintendo, but it's half the power, and the other consoles are like half the price. You can get a PlayStation 4 with a load of games for 200 quid, under £200. And the Wii is still 260 brand.
Yeah.
Like, what on earth is going on?
Well, and the thing is, I think Nintendo, they've realized that they might get a couple of more cannibalized sales right before the Switch comes out or whatever. But yeah, they realize they're the only console with Mario, with Zelda, with all of their franchises, because they're their franchises and people will pay to do that. Of course, if you wanted a Wii U for Zelda or Mario Kart or whatever, you probably already have it. So
yeah. So now I'm the Switch is something I'm looking for, and I think that could easily see some licensed games on that device. Whether or not we see any more 3DS content, I don't know. That's a bit harder to know whether or not they will continue on with that. But yeah, we've had a few releases in 2016, so it wouldn't surprise me there. Looking at this list I've got here, mobile games. This one's always a bit more tricky one to tie into, because this literally, a game could drop tomorrow, or a game could be announced like Moana Island Life and it still hasn't officially been released, or the new Force Arena game. They can get announced and they get soft launches, and then they can take 3 to 6 months before they eventually turn up everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, for the games that are already out, a lot of them, especially for Marvel, will tie into the movies as they come out. So
so we got Logan, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, and Thor Ragnarok.
Thor. Mm-hmm.
So lots of tie-ins, lots of events. I don't think we're going to see any solo titles for any of them.
We could see something for Thor since it's the farthest one out, but even in the mobile market, the Marvel games, they've really kind of stopped just releasing individual titles, and they just be like, all right, we've got Avengers Academy, so Avengers Academy will have an event. Contest of Champions will release a new character, a new skin, or whatever, and then they've got all the other games. So
I know there's going to be a Thor Ragnarok playset, I think, for Disney Infinity, which therefore to me automatically sends out the red flag that was the console version, and they haven't got the time to invest in winning. So I think it's just going to be, there'll be some Thor Ragnarok skins in Planet Hulk in Marvel vs. Capcom, and you'll see changes in Marvel Heroes, and just Marvel side of things is probably a little bit easier for them just to keep tying in. We've got episode 8 coming out for Star Wars, so we've sort of said that what might happen with that on there. But the Disney movies, we've got Pirates of the Caribbean, Beauty and the Beast, Cars 3, Coco. I'm trying to think of other ones that were coming out this year.
There'll probably be some other ones. They've been very good about making sure that they've got something with the Disney logo coming out every couple of months at least, for better or worse. Some of them kind of get sent out to die, like Alice in Wonderland did last year, and some of them end up being massively successful, like Moana. So
I think they definitely, as much as they've had, it's hard to sit there and go, yeah, 2016, Disney released way too many movies. Oh, you had the biggest movie you've ever had, and you've got all three of the top best movies of the. Yeah, that strategy did not work.
No, I mean, we could sit here and we could pick it apart and go, the Alice in Wonderland didn't meet expectations. Jungle Book was good, but maybe not like blockbuster. Pete's Dragon didn't do that well. But then you're like, yeah, but they also had 2 Marvel movies, Star Wars, Rogue One, and Moana. It's like Finding Dory,
Zootopia, and even the Jungle Book did very well at the box office.
It did well.
You are sitting there going, yeah, they'll be all right on the thing. Cars 3 is the one game that I would not be at all surprised if we saw something turn up.
Yes.
I feel there's a market there that something could be done. Obviously, we knew it was set up for Disney Infinity, but again, that one seems to be the one that I feel, and we've said before, is the easiest one maybe to be translated over. Whether or not they just do Cars 3 and then we end up with a Cars game coming out a few months later, just a Cars game with incorporating all 3 movies, that wouldn't surprise me as well, because they've had a little bit more of a lead time and they've got the mechanics for cars and stuff. That's the one that I think something like Pirates of the Caribbean. Having had a few other licensed games that they've come out for that one, I can't see anything for that coming out. Beauty and the Beast is too close. That's not going to be missed as well.
Relatively speaking, racing games of that nature are much easier to develop. I know obviously there's no such thing as truly easy development, talking relatively here. So I could see them pushing out something with Cars 1, 2, 3, just being a racing game, because I think that's what they did for Cars 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's what the playset was for Disney Infinity. I could see them having something ready. You just take one of the engines you've already got, skin them with the Cars characters, add in some dialogue options, and boom, you have a game. And the kids will probably love it, so long as it's halfway competent.
Yeah, like I've said before, let Sumo Digital just do a kart game. You've got a game. They've got the mechanics, they've got the stylized system, they've got the knowledge. They could probably, but even that, that lead time, is whether or not they have enough time to get it churned out quick enough. But yeah, so this, like I said, that's the hard thing on it.
If they knew as soon as Disney Infinity got canceled that they were going to do a Cars 3 game, or within like a month or so, they'd probably have the time to get something out there. It might not be like a fully polished AAA game, but they'd have something for kids to buy, and know that parents would be like, "Oh, Cars 3! Hey, look, here's the video game," and they wouldn't even bother to check if it's good or not.
And also, they can get away with a little bit more, but also it's a lower price game, and they might not necessarily get it out when the movie comes out. If it was a few months later, it wouldn't make too much of a difference as it went by. It just
Hi, Lightning.
It's the fact I just looked down and thought, oh yeah, there's a pot. But yeah, it's that thing of it will sell. I can see that makes a lot more sense. Mobile games on the other side, I think we will see a new racing mobile game. We will see whether or not I don't know about Coco. Coco's the one. It's hard to know, because sometimes with these game movies they do release stuff, but sometimes if they aren't 100% sure, they sometimes hold back a little bit. See what we saw something for Zootopia, we saw something for Moana. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see some kind of low-end mobile game released for Coco. Pirates of the Caribbean, there's nothing for that, so why not? And I think they'll continue to add content to their existing titles like Marvel, Disney Magic Kingdoms, Crossy Roads.
Well, Crossy Roads, definitely.
And Emoji Blitz and Zum Zum. I think they're going to slot. I think Disney should be dealing then with their other companies, looking at what Marvel are doing, and kind of try maybe follow that suit a little bit more. But mobile games is where they know that they can make some money on it.
Yeah, for a lot of these, they'll probably have an individual title, but it'll probably be something like an infinite running style game or something low effort. Yeah. Just throw it out there, $3 package, get the whole thing, and then make their money off of it. But the real money, as you alluded to, will be getting them into Emoji Blitz and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think we're going to see lots of that. But I think this year, Kingdom Hearts is probably going to be our only major console. I think 2017 is going to be a light year on the Disney side because of they chucked all their eggs into Disney Infinity, and we're still going to be suffering from that for most of 2017 because it's just a development time for making games. It's just they can't just turn it around and just make a console game. Next year and the year after, I think we'll start seeing tons more being released.
It would be kind of nice if they took the DuckTales engine that they created for the remaster, whichever company that was, and they made a new game using that engine to coincide with the new DuckTales TV show that's coming out this year, or do another Castle of Illusion, a side scroller. There's really no reason that they couldn't take one of those existing engines and pop a new game into them. Again, relatively speaking, not a very difficult development cycle. They could probably have something in a handful of months from those.
I mean, I love side-scrolling games, so it's a big thing for me. But I do like the fact that in some ways that with Infinity Now history, we're now going to go back to having a bit more variety in the gameplay. Like we were saying, Marvel vs. Capcom fighting, Lego, Star Wars Battlefront, those are all completely separate type of styles. And I think the trouble was with Disney Infinity that it was all becoming very samey. I mean, they did try and mess it up a little bit, but I think that's the one thing that would be a little bit more exciting, I think, from having different titles, is you have that different variety. Yeah,
and that's what's going to make 2017 interesting for Disney. As we've said, we have no idea what's coming out. We don't know if anything is even coming out at all, other than Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5, and 2.8.
Yeah.
So Disney surprise us. Give us something.
Yeah. It's kind of, I think starting 2017, going into last year, everything was still very Infinity based. We knew that there was going to be Thor Ragnarok, Cars 3, Pirates of the Caribbean coming up. So now all of that kind of now means that's all. I still feel like that was going to be affected like this year. But yeah, I'm sitting here now going, well, we know we've got at least four or five titles officially announced for 2017 already. Yeah, cool. Just bring it on. Events, episodes, content. We know there's going to be plenty to talk about, plenty to do. So no, it's good. I think it could be a good year for the whole thing. But I still, like I said, I still feel Disney might be the only one that's going to be slightly lacking. But Kingdom Hearts, all those remasters and ports are going to boost it up and get people, and I think it will bring a lot of new people into the franchise this year with all these new releases and reports.
Yeah, I mean, Disney, although in fairness, Disney's never really been that big on the video game side. Obviously, we've got some classic games that we remember, and we've talked about those previously, but when you get down to the video games, the Star Wars and the Marvel franchises are the big ones, and those are the ones we're going to see stuff on. So,
whether or not we see any more ports of what we saw, because there did seem to be that feeling last year of would they quickly just churned out some ports like Kingdom Hearts 2.1.5, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Marvel vs. Capcom. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see a lot more of that again, of stuff coming through, rather than going with the backwards compatible with the Xbox One. It does seem to be like they're kind of going, yeah, that sounds, because I mean they've made a few games backwards compatible in 2016, but it kind of slowed down. I mean, I actually didn't realize that Toy Story 3 had become backwards compatible because it came while I was on vacation, so I missed it. So it's only because I saw it the other day. But they've not really been going very fast on them, and I don't know if they've maybe shall we just re-port them?
I think from their point of view, if they can put out a low-effort port, it makes more sense because right now, the older games, the 360 and PS3 games, they don't really make money on sales for those.
Yeah.
If you buy it digitally, yeah, they'll get a couple of bucks. But if you go to your local GameStop or in the UK Game or whatever, and you buy it used, they don't get a single penny for that. So they can put the effort into creating it backwards compatible and not get much return, or they can put in a low effort port for probably a little bit more money, but they'll get a return on it. So even if they do something as stupid as they did for like Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, they'll get money back, and that's really probably what they would rather do. And I am 100% fine with that, so long as the ports aren't terrible.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see more. I'm surprised we haven't seen more PlayStation 2 stuff turning up on the PlayStation. And there's also rumors of Xbox One games, or Xbox games being on backwards compatible as well, coming through, which allows a little bit more retro stuff. Retro gaming, I think, was big in 2016. Obviously, with the NES Classic, that will kind of continue over, but. Yeah, it's gonna be. I wouldn't be at all surprised if some random games. The same thing with Marvel. A few games coming up. I was expecting a few more Star Wars retro games to come up, but they tried that 2 years ago. It obviously didn't maybe work out the way they wanted, and they haven't really bothered since.
Right, but also 2 years ago, there wasn't really a platform for backwards compatibility. There wasn't a platform for getting these PlayStation 2 and 1 games onto the market. Things have changed since then. I suspect if they tried it again now, either with again, Force Unleashed or maybe like one of the Rogue Squadron games, maybe Rogue Leader or something from the GameCube, I bet they would have much better success because, as you said, 2016 definitely was that feel of, hey, you remember this great game? You want to play it again? Here you go. Have some fun.
But yeah, I think we could still see some bits and pieces coming out. But yeah, so that pretty much I think is going to wrap up my list for everything we've known about, a few speculations and stuff. But going into 2017, looking good, looking a little bit more interesting. Lots of different games to play. I think Kingdom Hearts is going to keep me entertained for the first half of the year. Whether or not we see Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't know. It's that one's gonna. I think that's the big. I mean, we've got D23 this year, right? So I think as far as, but there again, their video game division is kind of bummed out. Last year it was about the one that happened 2 years ago. Disney Interactive were on a high. They were like, we're going to have an hour presentation. I don't know if it happened this year. I don't know if we'll have the same thing. Whether or not they'll just invite different. Unless they go, right, we're going to be given an hour and every single company can come and pitch their game. It would work. It is, but Disney have a very bad. They aren't sometimes. They always feels like they sometimes don't fully grasp that games are an entertainment source, and they are a big thing. And sometimes it kind of comes through that they kind of view it more like a toy or something that's not really of any interest.
But they also can't deny the numbers of people who lined up to get into the game show back in 2015. I remember I was there. You had to wait several hours if you wanted a good seat. And if you tried to get in at the last minute, there was no way you were getting in. And, as much as we may talk about Disney Infinity, and of course they gave out the controversial King Mickey Power Disc and all that stuff, Disney Infinity was only a very small part of that presentation. They announced the Disney Magic Kingdoms. We had the Kingdom Hearts 3. They announced Baymax for that. They had Battlefront footage. They had the Battle Pod footage, which obviously went nowhere because who wants to spend $8,000 or whatever it was on a Battle Pod? But yeah, they have stuff that they can show. And with Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out, Battlefront 2 coming out later this year, they've got plenty to show, and I think they're going to roll it all into a single presentation like they have previously.
But also, as well as from a good point, is from Disney's point of view, and from those because now every company's now going to be doing their own PR, which I think is the other side of things as well. Different games have different departments. Disney Interactive maybe aren't quite pushing it out now. EA will handle their bit, and Square Enix deal with their bit. And they all come together and put this presentation on. But also, they like the fact that they've got their own event because they aren't competing with E3. They're not competing at Gamescom. They can go, they can put out a load of information, and all the game sites like IGN, GameSpot are all going to blast that news out, and they've basically got that entire weekend to themselves. And that's their good point. A lot of the other companies don't. We're seeing more and more events taking place, and you can see games companies now are spreading out their information because every event that took place has to have some big announcements, and they don't want to. Doing everything at E3 is no longer really what happens anymore. It doesn't seem to be the big thing.
E3 seems to have shot itself in the foot, honestly, because they had some very restrictive years back in the mid 2000s and whatnot, and everyone's like, all right, well, you want to be like that, we'll just go and make our own convention. And now you've got PAX East, PAX West, PAX Australia, you've got various retailer conventions and stuff like that. You've got the entire year to announce products, but like you said, D23 is the Disney experience, and that is where everything that's coming out in the second half of the year will be announced.
Yeah.
I think there won't be any serious announcements after D23.
Yeah. So plenty there to look forward to. Well, anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. As you can see here, this next week's show is a pre-recorded one we did before Christmas. It's going to be talking about all of the Star Wars games, about the history of some of the games, some of our favourites. We actually recorded that quite a while ago now. That was
we did.
We tried to put one in the can, so we had one. So it's like, I'm on holiday, so I will be back in my old house next week.
Yeah.
So then we'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. Like I said, I am hopefully, once my internet connection settles down, because I'm in that moving period where internet gets a bit fuzzy, hence why there was a cut mid-episode. So hopefully we might end up be testing around with some live bits as well, maybe, depending on how it works out. You'll also notice I might start seeing a little bit more live streaming for some gaming going on this year because of having some high-speed internet. I did a test earlier this week playing some Marvel vs. Capcom, so plan is to do a couple of live streams a week doing some video games. Obviously the podcast is going to carry on. Whether or not we slightly change around a few bits and pieces here and there, obviously YouTube went through a massive... It was one of those weird things, I think, because YouTube went through a massive meltdown at the end of 2016. I just thought it was like, okay, Disney. I put everyone down to this Disney Infinity dying. I hadn't really given it any thought at all. Oh yeah, Disney Infinity's died. That's the end. We just got to rebuild. Of course, no, YouTube just broke.
Yeah, YouTube was. I haven't read into it, but yeah, YouTube broke.
Yeah,
at hardcore. So
the idea as well is I have been trying to put this up on Twitch. Now they've added the uploading system there. I've been doing there, and also a new video platform called VidMe as well. I've been testing that one out the last 2 weeks, because as much as YouTube was great, it has shown that there is vulnerabilities when you put all your eggs into one basket. So now I'm going to try and spread it out a little bit and put it onto different platforms. Obviously, you can get the MP3 version. I want to thank you again to all of our patrons who supported us through 2016 going into 2017. A little bits do help. Just making all these podcasts, they do cost money. Costing hosting them on the MP3 servers. I'm planning on buying some new lighting as well, and just in general paying soft licenses and stuff. It all helps. So every little dollar and stuff does help. So big thank you to everyone that does that over at patreon.com/DisKingdom. So James, where can they find you? Have you come out of your cave for the social media, or are you just going to stay in it for 2017?
I made a couple of quick tweets on Vagabond Peak, at Vagabond Peak, but yeah, I don't really check it. And in fact, I think by the time either this comes out or next week's podcast comes out, my Facebook will be completely deleted as well. That was the iHeart Infinity Facebook. I don't have a personal one. So, yeah, if you need to contact me for some reason, you can do it through Roger. That said, I have been doing some work with the CoinOp TV. Yeah. I mentioned earlier in this podcast that I was working on The Walking Dead Season 3. So you can also check out my review for that on CoinOp TV's website within the next day or two.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, and definitely also just check out his website as well. Rob's channel, CoinOp TV, does lots of different bits and pieces. I know he's working on something as well. So it's that kind of thing of there's plenty of stuff to go around. Well, anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you all had a fantastic New Year and Christmas, and we shall see you guys soon. Laters.